Hey everyone, this is Grady at SUBOVERLAND, and in this video I'll be doing a little walk around of our '07 Suburban and this '04 Yukon XL with the high top on them. Let's get right into it. So this is the moment some of you may have been waiting for. About a year ago, I think, I had posted something about, hey, I'm thinking about doing a high top, and here they are. So these are the first two. We've done 3 total. The other one is, still at the installation shop that, I can mention here, but these are the first 2 that I have here down in Idaho in SUBOVERLAND, and it's been such a fun experience. It's been long and everything, but we're finally here. It's fun to make new products, and then when it all comes together and it turns out. And anyway, it's been cool to see everything here. So on this, let's start with the overview of the tops, and then we'll get into some more details. So the tops that we are now going to be selling are 2000 to 2014. So these tops both work for the same vehicle. So on my left here is the GMT 800, 2000 to 2006. This one just so happens to be a GMC Yukon XL. They will fit on all the models. So you got the Yukon XL, the Suburban, the Escalade, Denali, XL. We do not make them for the shorter wheelbase like the Tahoe or just the regular Escalade or Denali. And so that's something to keep in mind. They will also fit on the GMT 900s, 2007 to 14. And that's what they look like on top of those. Now these tops are made of fiberglass, and they were made in Canada by an obvious professional. This wasn't just me hacking some fiberglass together and thinking I'm a high top builder. It's been pretty interesting to figure, to learn about all what goes into making these, and it's pretty impressive. So it's a company up in Canada called Toughport, and they do a bunch of different fiberglass work, mainly, tops for vans, and they also do like campers and projects like this too. But they've been wonderful. Huge shout out to them. And Dependable Industries is another company up there. They helped out. They did the design of this, and they made the plug. You have to have a plug to make a mold, and so essentially, I have the mold. It's SUBOVERLAND's property, and so we are the only ones doing a high top for a Suburban in the world that I know of. I know there's been some like smaller high tops, I think, throughout the years that you guys might, mention, or StarCraft and some of those conversion companies that they may have done. But currently none of those molds, to my knowledge, exist, and so they're not being produced. So these are the only ones in production, and we will be selling them and installing them here at our shop here in Twin Falls, Idaho. Now for reference, both of these vehicles, we've got the Suburban on the right, Yukon XL on the left. They both have our base package on them. So that's our suspension, fluids, stuff like that, and tires. So 33-inch tires, 285, 75, 16 on the one on the right, the GMT 900, and the one on the left, the Yukon XL, actually has a little bit oversized than that, 285, 75, 17 on Nomad wheels. The vehicle on the right, the GMT 900, is a 3/4 ton. The Yukon XL on the left is a 1/2 ton. So I just want to kind of get that out of the way so you can kind of see differences and things like that. But the tops, again, they're made of fiberglass, and there's a company in Salt Lake. Their name is Wasatch Overland. If you guys haven't checked them out, please do. They're fantastic. They do amazing work. They specialize in van builds and installing high tops on Ford Econoline vans. Express vans are their main tops that they install. But then they have a really cool pop top on a Land Cruiser, 80 series, and they do some Volkswagen Vanagon type stuff also. And so check them out. So essentially, I knew Aiden over there, and we had talked about this project, and they headed it up. So they get their high tops from Toughport in Canada, and so it just made sense for me to go through them. And like I said, it was designed, they were produced, the mold is down there, and then these are one of the first two that were shipped to Salt Lake. We went down to Salt Lake and we installed them together. So I brought down the SUBOVERLAND team, and we learned how to install high tops, which was fantastic. Again, thank you to Wasatch for allowing us to go down there and be in their shop for a couple days. And these are the ones that we installed, and pretty proud of them. I love how they turned out. And let's get into some of the specs. Now I'm in the back of the Suburban here, and you guys can see, so what you do first is you cut the headliner, and these are our first ones, so we didn't want to just remove the whole thing and cut them all out, because you use a lot of this in the build. And so once we build out the interior, we haven't done an interior build yet, they're just on, you obviously cut down these headliners, and then you'll trim it all nice, and this will all be full. But I wanted to give them some measurements going on here, and I am, how tall am I? I'm about like 5'8", 5'9", and so there's this in the Suburban. In the front, it's down, and then it comes up where the third row seats are, and you can kind of see if I'm in frame here. So I'm standing up like this, if that makes sense. And then when you come down here, you've got that room there. And so this is what you can expect here. Now, the tallest point, let's measure out the tallest point. So I am right at about 65 inches. So some of this is gonna vary, but you've got 65 inches of height right there, and then when you build it out, it'll probably come down another inch or so, about 63 to 65 inches depending on how the interior is built out. And then right here in this section, we've got about 58 inches, it looks like. So you can kind of get an idea of what that is going to look like. Now in this back area, this is where we usually put our bed, and that's probably what's going to stay. But at this point, we could do like a split, so you have two seating areas where you're kind of you're sitting like this, right? Do my wall sits for you guys, and up above, I've got plenty of room up there now. So that's, and then when you're in bed, you can sit up in bed without hunching over a little bit. And so that was the idea of this. I was never wanting to get us to stand up in these. Yeah, I was wanting it, but I just didn't think it was going to look good. And I think this is about as tall as you could go without making it look just super weird. And I really, the more and more I drive these around, and I walk out from like the grocery store or whatever, I'd be like, hey, that's a good looking product. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. But I think the designers hit it out of the ballpark, and I'm glad that I was involved with the overall aesthetics of it, because I had the vision and I didn't want it to get too crazy, and I think it's going to work out really nice. So again, this has a lot more room up here, as far as standing room. And if you're pretty short. Like, you know, we have clients that are under 5 foot. I mean, you're going to be able to stand up in this thing. Or like my kids, I mean, they can, it's the Taj Mahal back here now. So this really opens up, you know, a lot of different, you know, interior setups, I think, also. Now I'll give you a little, you know, tour of what's going on here. So this is called the reverse flange. And so see how that tucks down there? And then you cut out the roof, obviously, and you screw it down into it. And that's glue. You're glued underneath. So it's all sealed super nicely. These are wood strips. And so you can, I don't have it in here, but you can build out the wall. And then so you can build out the interior. That's what a lot of, you know, those van builds will do. Now this section, this one was a sunroof model. And so we got to figure out what to do here, how to, you know, clean this up. But this also, this little area right here is going to be another place for storage, which is fantastic. The more storage, the better, especially if you're, you know, living full time or whatever. You know, I'm always a fan of storage. So this, again, this will all be, you know, trimmed out nicely, and you can put storage up there. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this. This is like straight up, we slap the top on here. It's solid, it's not leaking, it's great, but there's no interior build out yet. Right now we're in the GMT 900. This is I think it's an 07 or 08, 3/4 ton Suburban. And you know, it's gonna be the same as a half tons, obviously, but just wanna put that out there. So let's do some measurements on this. I haven't done this yet, so I'm curious on if there's any difference at all with the different year ranges. So it's about 65. It's about the same. Yeah, about 65 inches in this front area. And then how about over here? About 58. Yep. So 65 inches is your tallest point. And then 58 inches in the back area here of room. So I guess no difference between the two gens, but good to know. Now on the back of this, you can see these max tracks. We thought this would be a cool place to, you know, try to install them. So there they are. A nice thing about, you know, with the fiberglass top, you have the option of, you know, mounting some more stuff, you know, on the side and different things like that. So this is the roof setup that will probably be the most common. We have two 100-watt flexible solar panels and then a max air fan at the back. You can see that. So you still get a bunch of solar up top, and then we will be trying to get a roof rack in the future here that instead of maybe solar panels, someone wanted to do a rack. You can mount an awning on the side and then different accessories too. So that's all will be, you know, coming up in the future as far as this build. Now, as far as pricing goes, so these are going to be $5,500 installed. And so essentially, if you own your own Suburban or you want to add it to your build from a vehicle that we sourced, it's going to be $5,500 to install what you saw there. Now there's different variations. There's a finish on the inside that you can opt for, and there's also, you know, the full-blown interior finish build. It's like an upholstered side, you know, like the walls and the roof are upholstered and insulated, and so that's obviously going to cost more. $5,500 installed, and that's going to be a day turnaround. So if you drive in from out of state or wherever you're at, we would just schedule you in, and we could, you know, bust it out. Bring it to us in the morning, you'll have it back in the afternoon. There's also going to be an option for a paint match. So these vehicles are white, like you've noticed, but on the ones that are not white, we'll have the option of doing a paint match if you want to. It looks good either way, but if you were wanting to, if you have a red Suburban and you wanted red paint on it, on the top to match, then we could do that also. So that would also be an option. Now, as far as the height difference, the actual top is about 16 inches at its highest point, or you know how it comes down in the front. So it's 16 inches in the back and then 13 inches in the front. And so again, I already did those measurements, 65 inches of standing room and 58 inches of standing room in the back. And that gives you plenty of space. And so hopefully that helps out with the dimensions and you know why you would do this. Now, some interesting things about it. So I said it's fiberglass. It's this thick fiberglass. It's honeycombed, very, very solid, very structurally sound. It wasn't just some dude in the middle of nowhere that's like, oh, I used to make boats, I can slap one together. I mean, these guys, they're legit. And so, you know, it's done right. And because of that, it cost me a lot of money for this mold. But it's done right, and it makes, you know, I can sleep at night knowing that, you know, this is, you know, a very safe, you know, high top and everything. And insulation wise, just as it sits right now, it's a lot better than just metal. It's crazy. You'll put your hand on the fiberglass on the inside, and then you put your hand on the same metal. Man, it's just like so hot. Metal can just be so hot. And so I like that about it. And then once we insulate it, it'll be even better. But just as it sits, it's better than just metal. It drove really good. I was going 80 miles an hour. Fuel economy, people are going to ask that. I don't, you know, we'll see. It shouldn't change it too much, honestly. The top itself is about 150 pounds. So I have confirmed the weight of the high top. It's 147 pounds. And we took off 50 pounds of metal. So you're adding about 100 pounds to the top of the vehicle. So imagine your wife sitting on top of the Suburban or something like that, right? It's not like this crazy amount that you would think. Again, it is fiberglass, very lightweight, but it's super strong. It's this tri-cell honeycomb and thick walls, and yeah, it's pretty wild. Check out Toughport. I think they have some cool stuff on their Instagram and stuff with, you know, like their tops being thrown off like a shipping container and stuff like that. And so I think a lot of people will wonder like, oh my gosh, you took out the rigidity. Is it safe anymore? And the answer to that is yes, it's still a very safe vehicle. It just adds some more standing room in here. So I hope that helps to explain what's going on here. And again, you can just, if you have your own Suburban, bring it on down. We can totally put this high top on for you. And while you're here, a lot of, you know, a good option is we can install the solar and the max air fan while it's here. Or, you know, you can do that yourself, or you can do a full build. If you bring us your Suburban, we can put the high top in and then, you know, do the interior, all of that. And so the high top itself is a day turnaround, and then with solar and the fan, you know, we should be able to do a day, you know, on something like that too. So if you're interested, please reach out. I'll have the contact form on the website, and we'll have more info on the website, hopefully coming up with more specs of the high top. But thanks for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and we'll catch you on the next one.